to this Thursday stream of Las Plumas de Simul. My name is Plumas and I'm going to be your host for the delightful afternoon, evening, morning, or whenever the time is in the zone you're watching this from. It is of my greatest pleasure to greet you here today, because today we have one of my favorite topics. I always say this, I'm aware, but I'm just really excited to bring you this because it's something new to me, to the channel, and I like bringing new things because that means I get to study things I otherwise would not dare venture to. Thank you so much to Azilena for that subscription. Almost a year, almost a complete year subscribing, and tier 2, no other than tier 2. Thank you so much. You are one of my biggest supports because they're also my patron, and I am just very grateful for that. If you want to give me a hand with this project and you would like to support it and get, access to beautiful new content behind the scenes or join the community, you can also support me on Patreon. But if you're a little bit on the shyer side, you can join our Discord server, which hopefully I'm going to try and type in here. I don't know, I fixed it somehow. I fixed the, you're so welcome. I fixed it. I think, the link, but you will have to tell me, why is this? Because I am already inside my own server, and there was this thing when I had these, the links that expired, and I changed it. So, hello Uloko, so good to see you here, and I hope that I fixed that. I am unsure if I did, so you a chat will let me know. How are you? Are you okay? Is everything? I was going to ask you if you were, warming up and cozying up with like a fussy sweater, like what I'm wearing, but I don't know if it's cold, whatever you might be at. Is it cold there? Here is reasonably cold. I like it. It's not terribly freezing. I mean, it is abnormally cold for the temperature where I live, but I like that. I enjoy the cold weather. As many of you might know, I used to live in Scotland and I loved it. I really liked it. And the temperature, I'm quite used to, the cold weather, the drizzle, the snowy. Stockholm is cold, but not as cold as it should. Right. So you're missing some more like under degrees. That's good. I like knowing that. And as I was mentioning, today is a very interesting and special day because I've been asked and suggested and pleaded and requested this topic for so long. Not this particular topic as in like a historical introduction, but I've been asked a lot. Is Scotland as hilly as it looks in the movies? Depending on the part, but yeah, many sides of Scotland are quite hilly. Beautiful, especially in the higher highlands, the highlands. I self high five when I feel I'm a little bit dumb, but yeah, definitely, yeah, it's beautiful. I do recommend visiting Scotland, and I don't live there anymore. But I was saying that today is a very special one because I've been requested a lot of this topic, and I've always was kind of reluctant to talk about Elam because I'm not an expert. I'm far beyond being an expert. I am very much new to the field, although I kind of gathered some knowledge through the years because of course you cannot properly study the Achaemenids without touching up a little bit on the Median Kingdom, and that means touching up Elam, and with my other Mesopotamian investigations, especially with Assyria, you kind of tiptoe around the Elamites and their culture, but finally I am bringing Elam to the front line, to the front row, because my patrons so very, very happily so they requested it. Thank you so much. These are, oh my god, 20 months 20 months in a row you've been subscribed to the channel. Oh, I love this woman. I don't hide. I just happily chanted to the winds. I love this woman. Thank you so much. And Elam is a topic that's always brings up like a little confusion because many people don't know about it, and in general, for the general public, that is, Elam is quite unknown. And my patrons voted for this very I see them. My patrons voted for this wholeheartedly, and I could not but answer the pleas. If you want to choose what's coming, for the next streams. You can do so if you support me on Patreon. So if you want, you know, go give it a try. I have, I can leave you the socials in here if you want to check that one out. What is that, Loco? In internet culture, being able to admit that you're not an expert probably already places you in the top 1% of expertise on the topic. Believe me, I am not. I am far from being an expert on anything. I think the only topic that I would dare to say that I am grasping expertise is about Simur, and that will be it. So today we are going to talk about Elam. And I've divided, I wanted to give like a general introduction because as I was saying, Elam is quite unknown for the general public. It's not a culture that receives much attention. I don't know why, especially, but it is lovely and interesting and so important for the development of other cultures, not only Assyria, like in the Fertile Crescent, but also for the Median Kingdom and for the southern province of Khuzestan, which we are going to talk about in a minute. So why don't we begin? I have divided the script for this live stream. I have 3 parts. We're going to start with what is Elam, then we're going to move into where is Elam, and then when is Elam, because I know that people want their timelines and they want to be located in not only in space but in time. Let's just go to the general question. What is Elam? So the name Elam is the one we use to designate an ancient civilization and also to the territory they occupied. This was one of the main political and cultural forces of the ancient Near East, and truthfully the history of Elam is somehow recent because depending on the time, the period and the sources, the label or name Elam was not clear, at least not as clear as we could think. Let's start with the very and most important bit, which is the name. Not this one. There we go. Here we have it. The name Elam is, as many others in history, at least in the history of Iranian territories, are borrowing from the Greek Aliam, which was taken from Hebrew Elam, but the Elamites did have their own way to call the land, and that name was Haltamti or Hatamti, which means the reigning country. Humble people, the Elamites. The Sumerians, however, and I do have the cuneiform in here, the Sumerians, though, used to designate this territory with the ideogram Nim, which means high or elevated. This is due mostly to geographical reasons. Excuse me. Elam is higher than the Fertile Crescent, although some of its territories were by the sea. But Elam is mainly rocky and hilly and mountainous territory. If we didn't have enough names, of course, then the Iranians come by and add their touch to the subject. They call the place Khuzestan, which by the way is the name of the current province in modern day Iran. This literally means the land of the Khuzi, the people of Khuz. This Khuz comes from the old Persian rendition of Susa or Sush, the city you've probably already have heard me speak about. Never enough though, never enough. Hello, Aquila Inferna. Today, I think I'm going with good afternoon, but I can do any of them. I don't know. I'm guessing Kalimera is Greek. But you can also say salam, which is Persian, so that's perfect. Oh my god, it looks like fashion and ties and shirts, the picture before. Oh, I know. In this here, though, we saw, like, in the Spanish live stream, people saw tie and a fist. And I see much more a gauntlet. I don't know if you can picture this, but it would be like a gauntlet, like actually for you, but like the fist would come before, and then you have a little bit narrower, like a thinner, narrower wrist, and then it just widens up as it goes to the elbow. I swear, this in here, it says Elam I. So yeah, but I think it's very important remembering, yes, you see the marble gauntlet. Yeah, there could be the marble one, why not? But I think it's very important to see that the Elamites had their own way of addressing themselves, because sometimes, original names get lost in historiography, and we go with labels we are much more accustomed to, which is not bad. It's just we need to label things, unfortunately, in making history. But I just want to remind you that these people, so much so as the Iranians, they never call themselves the Elamites. Like the Iranians never call themselves the Persians, because the Persians are the descendants of the Parsa family. So technically speaking, the only Persians that there were the descendants of the Parsa tribe. That was the one Cyrus the Great belonged to. Kuroje Bozorg. What is that, Uloko? Did these Mesopotamian cultures have a preference for writing on clay over papyrus, or is clay just all the evidence we have left on the writings? I don't know if they used papyrus or not, but mainly we have clay tablets. That's the main thing we've found. Possibly someone with a little bit more knowledge in the written Mesopotamian cultures could tell you a little bit more about it, but I'm not an expert, so apologies for that. So I was saying that the Iranians called this land Khuzestan, and because the city of Susa was there, Sush in original Persian, because of the introduction of the Iranic languages, the region was also known as Susiana. However, this was a little bit, just a wee bit problematic. I'm gonna show you this because I love this cylinder. Cyrus perhaps was Elamite? No, definitely not. No, Cyrus had nothing to do with the Elamites, because by the time Cyrus came to be as a human being, the Elamites were a big gone. I mean, the Medians had probably made their part in pushing the Elamites away and absorbing the Elamite kingdom, but Cyrus belonged to the Parsa tribe, and that tribe was much more linked to Anshan. However, if you want to know a little bit more about Cyrus the Great, there's already a live stream we did on his memory, because I love Cyrus, and we all do love Cyrus in this project, so you can go check that one out. Hello, Rose, driving home. Okay, so please drive safe. Please be careful on the road. I know you always are, and please let me know when you arrived, because I like knowing it. I was saying that this part was known as Susiana. However, for a long time, scholars thought Elam and Susiana were synonyms. In 1980, the scholar Belat supported the idea of them being separate entities by the identification of archaeological finds. And the truth is, like with any other political or cultural entity, that the limits of Elam quite varied through time, and they were not perceived as the same depending on the observant. Why am I saying this? Because the eyes of the beholder can tell a completely different story depending on where said observer is or is from. One of the earliest sources containing a somehow detailed map of Elam belongs to the Geography of Sargon of Akkad. Probably you're already familiar with Sargon. It was composed sometime around 2,300 years BCE. That stands for before Common Era, so a while back ago. This was a collection of Sargon's conquest, and according to the Mesopotamian thought, the mindset, by the 3rd millennium before Common Era, Elam encompassed the Iranian plateau to the Caspian Sea in the north to the Persian Gulf to the south. Nevertheless, if we change our point of view and locate ourselves in the Iranian plateau, we would read in the sources that for them, Elam meant basically the kingdom of Anshan. What does this mean for us history lovers? And what does this mean for us today, Bacha? That we need to remind once more that there is more than one version to history. Still, scholars are arguing about Susiana and Elam. The main argument of those in favor of Elam and Susiana being synonymous is that Elam is not an Iranian-based term, and that is mainly a Mesopotamian construction. According to these scholars, Elam would just be the Mesopotamian word to refer to the area of Khuzestan, or Susiana, if we look at the sources that were written in Latin. Yet, all the sources appear to establish a difference between Susiana being like the lower area of Khuzestan and Elam being the highland area. What do I think, personally? That was a dramatic T-pause. I I am yet to form an opinion, but for the sake of the series and a better understanding, I will keep referring to the culture and the dynasties as Elam and Elamite. Why this relationship between Elam and Susiana, though? Where did this come from? So they used to be very good friends with common interests. They joined forces to take down the governor in Ur in 2004, again, before Common Era. Basically, all the dates I'm gonna give will be before Common Era unless I specify different. And then Susiana, after they took down the governor of Ur, Susiana became part of Elam, and then the Sukalma dynasty, also known as the Apartheid dynasty, which is a horrible name if you ask me. This was found, but that's another whole story. We'll talk about the dynasties in a little bit later on in the live stream. Before moving on though, here's a curiosity. Possibly you knew this already, but Elam appears in the Bible. Ta-da! Yeah, you heard me, it does. Elam is both a person and a kingdom, because Elam appears to be the son of Sem, and we can find this mentioned in Genesis 10:22. Was it referring to a kingdom, a culture, a society, a person? Unclear, since the scholar Daniel Potts explains the classification of people we find in Genesis was based on geographical and political relationships, so we don't know for sure. There is a certain genealogy of the kings of Elam, again in Genesis, based on the mentions of a king named, and I'm going to try my best not to butcher it, but I don't read Latin properly, so bebachid, excuse me, ya me perdonan ustedes. The name of the king is Hodor Lahomor Rex Aelamitarum. Hodor Lahomor Rex Aelamitarum. That means Hodor Lahamor, king of the Elamites. And Samson also mentions the Elamites, and then we find it again in the book of Tobit, and we can continue up to 59 more times. Would you like a whole stream on the subject? Because I can promise you the information could get us speaking for very, very long, and it's quite interesting because it covers the field of biblical archaeology. I don't know if you were aware, but this is the thing. I mean, this is something, it's a field of studies, biblical archaeology, but it's something I was not that interested in myself until very recently. If you would like to know more about the subject, you can let me know somehow. You can communicate with me, especially if you're my patron. Please do tell me what you would like to see in the future, because I have my ideas, but you guys, you are supporting this project. You deserve to see your wishes fulfilled. So now that we have an idea of what Elam is, generally speaking, it is important we know where to properly locate Elam. And I need to change my beautiful image. At least for now. There you go. Here you have it. I have mentioned before that the Mesopotamians... Hi Pichu, it's lovely to see you. I've said that the Mesopotamians thought that basically the whole Iranian plateau was Elam, but that was not entirely true. Elam mainly occupied the plain and lower Zagros mountains in the upper coast of the Persian Gulf, and if descriptions were not enough, here we have them, maps. I cannot stress enough how important they are for a better understanding of history, because the landscape influences greatly the cultures that flourish in it. And something you have to note about the Elamites is that fundamentally they are people attached to the mountains and to cows, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Once we've talked about dynasty, don't worry, we're going to cover a variety of topics in here. Do not fret. So the lowlands, and I'm going to change the map. I'm going to show you another one. I like geographical maps. Why is this? Because sometimes political maps are very important, but they lack of the landscape. They do not show the surroundings, and I think it's it's very important. It is fundamental to understand how the cultures evolve, because I was saying this. Hi, Anshu, how are you? I was saying this in a live stream. I was invited to as a guest speaker. A culture does not produce what they do not need, and they adapt to what they do need. So landscape is something that is generally overlooked in history as a general thing. People tend to focus on dynasties and people tend to focus on political frontiers, but sometimes they forget that these political frontiers are directly influenced, if not completely defined, by the geography surrounding them. And I'm not just talking about mountains, I'm talking about deserts, I'm talking about seas, lakes, enormous rivers, and they are fundamental to understand the mindset of the people. As I was saying, if you compare, for example, to other Mesopotamian societies, the Elamites were fundamentally people of the mountain, and that made them different, and that made them understand the world in a different fashion than the people living in Uruk, Babylon, or I don't know, Egypt. I was trying to find. Is it just me, or does it look like Elam has no major rivers? They're not huge rivers, such as, I mean, we're comparing the rivers of the world basically to the Tigris and Euphrates, and yeah, I mean, there's not an equivalent to the Tigris and Euphrates in Elam. They sure had rivers, but I'm gonna dive into this. In the lowlands, the closer those are closer to the sea. They are fundamentally alluvial plains formed by and watered by many little rivers that come directly from the southwestern area of the Zagros Mountains. And what does this mean? Why should we care about the alluvial plains? Well, that means the land was fertile and allowed human settlement, especially around a city that will be of great importance through the centuries, no other than Susa, the city of kings. So you see, it is important knowing these things, because if this was not suitable for human inhabitation, there would be no cities in here. Not a single one of them. I mean, if you are used to a nomadic lifestyle, for sure, you can spend some time in just one place, but you do not settle because that place is inhabitable. However, if the place has, as Uluka says, fresh water and a nice climatology, you stay for a while. And a while longer, and a while longer. And before you realize, you have a massive city with, I was going to give a number, but I'm going to make it up. This is not a real number. You have a massive city with 23 great palaces, each of them dedicated to a monarch that was greater than his predecessor. So there you have it. This is how Susa was created. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, so we have what and we have where. The only thing remaining is when. The timeline of this historical period. We are going to follow what is known as the classical division of time, and that means we're going to follow dynasties. This is a bit outdated, not my favorite, I'm aware, but I know some of you are also interested in these people and their shenanigans. So I'll try to be as concise as I can, but please bear in mind that we are dealing with history in blocks that comprise millennia. It is difficult to summarize these things for the live streams, and I know this is only our first introduction to the culture of Elam, but we're talking about thousands of years. So just how many people there are in your family, multiply this per 1,000 and you will get like a 10% of awareness of how many people we are talking about in here. I'm gonna do a tea pause. Oh, and I'm gonna do a pause also because I need to do some cleaning, and that's it's not. I'm gonna tell you what that means. The cleaning I'm referring to is that there are some bots that come to the live stream, and that is terrible for the stream, and I don't want that. I don't want that to be something that happens in this live stream, because they're not. It's not good. It's definitely not good for the live stream. But you can just type your questions should you have any. You know, I always like giving like room for questions in there. There you go. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, now we are gonna see what? We're going to start with the earliest period that is called the Proto-Elamite. And I am beyond happy because that means I get to show you beautiful art. Because yes, I am an art historian and art pieces are as important for me as battles, dynasties, and written sources. Behold the magic of the cow. This gorgeous silver piece is gorgeous. I mean, I could try it and gather more adjectives, but I just cannot say anything but that. It's gorgeous. I love it. And it's quite big, actually. This is a chunk of a piece. It'd be like this big, something like that. Do we have much information about civilization on Elam's eastern boundary? We do. We do. Okay. Team cow. Yes, we do bow to the cow. Oh, I love that. We bow to the cow because we are team cow. We simply are. We enjoy a good cow here and there. And in the Proto-Elamite, what I am talking about is, well, it normally includes from the 3,500 to 2,700 before Common Era again. Here we don't have a cohesive power. Rather, there were three political groups that flourished separately. We have Anshan, we have Awan, and we have Shimaski. That one was difficult. Thank you, Sacerotisa, for the cleaning. So I lost it. Oh yeah, I was saying that there were three political groups that flourished separately: Anshan, Awan, and Shimaski. We use Proto-Elamite because that is also the name of a script that remained in use until 2300 before Common Era and still remains a challenge to be deciphered. There is a lot of gaps in this part of history, but what we know for certain, and what I mean for certain, is that we have written evidence of Elam being a political entity, is that Elam was formed as a kingdom around 2650 for Common Era. And we have it enlisted in the text of the king in Mebarageshi of Kish. And he only, let me tell you something, he only put Elam on the list because he conquered it. So we know they were around somehow. We have more cows. In this beautiful seal that I've shown you, we have more cows. And I always specify this because sometimes in cow I always specify this because sometimes it's not that well known, but when you see these pieces, the seal is not the impression on clay that you see to your left. The seal is actually the piece that is closer to me and your right. And that little piece, because these tend to be very, very tiny. Oh my god, Uloko, you're subscribed! Saradotisa just gifted you one. Oh my god, that is so sweet of you. That is so lovely. Thank you so much, Saradotisa. Grande, enorme, reina leyenda, reina del martes santo. Sorry, I need to properly compliment my Spanish fellows by saying things like this. Thank you so much. That is so lovely. Oh, look at the little feather on your name. That is cute. So yeah, the seals are this little roundel that you can just push against the wet clay and roll. And that makes an infinite pattern. It's a very smart thing. It's a very smart thing to do. So here you have it. It also looks like sometimes I've seen this as, what's the name in English? Let me look for the word, but for making biscuits, a rolling pin. Yeah, I've seen this being compared to biscuits or cookies if you're watching me from the United States, and I think they would make beautiful rolling pins, definitely. What else can I show you, because I have a lot of art in the Proto-Elamite style. What else? Oh, I have a lot of I have so many cool things. Oh yeah, this one. This also belongs to the Proto-Elamite. How could I forget about this one? This one's so special. This also belongs to the Proto-Elamite period. And why is it so special? Because I saw these live. I saw this in the Archaeological Museum of Tehran. Thank you so much, Juko. Oh my god. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the gift. I feel so humbled and honored. Thank you so much, Bacha. Oh, you're so lovely. Does the cross have any particular significance for the Elamites? Not that I'm aware of, but it could be. Why is that? Sorry, my fussy sweater, just one of the little fusses entered my tongue. I was saying that I saw this piece live when I was in Tehran, and it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and I could not believe it was there because they have a beautiful collection of Elamite objects and findings. However, they're not that well displayed and not well paid attention to, which is a real pity because some of the artifacts are just magnificent, like these vase. This is silver. And the dress the woman is wearing was quite popular in Mesopotamian courts, and so it's a very kind of fashionista. We have a very a nice take on fashion, and this is such a valuable source because sometimes there's not that much human representation in the pieces that we preserve. It's not that there wasn't any, but not so many have come to our day and age. They have not been preserved. I am allowing, oh yes, now that I see the silver, I have a note in here. I am allowing myself a digression here, and my patrons have responded to this beautifully. In this period of time, like in this timeline, is when we also have the culture of Giroft and Lorestan, and they produce gorgeous objects that I cannot wait to talk about on this channel. So again, calling to my patrons, please do vote for Giroft. I'm seriously desperate and need to share my unconditional love for the works in metal from the southern Iranian lands. Thank you. Back to Elam. Then we have the Proto-Elamite period, and then we move to the Old Elamite period from around... We need to change this. We need to change this. What should I show you for the Old Elamite? I have so many pictures. Oh my god! Sacerdotisa just gifting subscriptions to everyone. Nefer, now you're subscribed as well. Oh my god, it's 27 subscriptions you've gifted in the channel. Thank you so much. Oh my god, just that is such a big effort. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Oh my god, you're so lovely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Nefer, no, you can also show off your you can also show off your little your little feather. Oh, of course, always a toast for Sacerdotisa, always and forever. There you go. Cheers. What what should I show you? Oh yeah, I know the one. I was trying to save this like one for like last, but no, I need to show you. Okay, we can go with this. Well, we can actually we're gonna use this one. We're gonna use like a little bit more like a boring one. In here, you have, of course, another cheer for Sacerdotisa, definitely. Cheers. This is an alliance between Naransim, which maybe you're also familiar with, and the King of Awan, because in the Old Elamite period, which is from the 2400 to 1600 Falcon era, we have three different dynasties, and the kings of the first two, the Awan and Simashki dynasties, appear in the list of kings of Susa from the Old Babylonian period. Isn't it great when sources connect? We have, and I quote, the 12 kings of Awan, and then there is the 12 kings of Simashki that follow. Although there are no more details to it, no years, no periods, barely nothing, that led scholars to think the document was fake. However, the kings mentioned in this list appear in other Mesopotamian sources, so that proved the document was right, not this document. This is an alliance between Naransim and the king of Awan. And then we have the third dynasty, which is the Sukalmas, or the Apartids, which again, I insist, it's a terrible name, so I'm going to refer to them as Sukalma. They were contemporary to the Old Babylonians, and they were not included in the list because they had not conquered them. Oh my god, is this... the train of hype, the hype train is coming. Thank you so much, Chugo. You're just the best. You're the best, Sancho. truly. Here's a cheers to the frogs. I mean, and I'm gonna switch to Spanish very quickly because this one's for my Spanish speaking fellows. If si no seguís a Ancho, por favor, corran a suscribirse a su canal de Twitch, corran a seguirlo, es un artista increíble y el señor de todas las ranas de esta existencia y de la siguiente. Muchas gracias. So, back to the Sukalmos. The one dynasty shared some of the timeline with Sargon of Akkad, and the last of its kings, the last of its kings, Puzur in Shushinak, appears to have reigned at the time of Ur-Nammu, the founder of the third dynasty of Ur. And I wanted to show you the coolest tablet ever existed. Why? Because it is in the shape of a bloody lion. I mean, you could have your regular rectangular tablets, but those are boring. You want a lion. Of course you do. This is because there is style. There is style, and then there is Pusur in Shushinak. Claro que sí. And I think this is brilliant. All the other tablets that you're gonna see are gonna be so boring to you because it's a lion. I mean, who was the person saying that the tablet should be like shaped like this? This is my graphic tablet. This is my Wacom. Who said that sources to read should be like this? Do you know, rectangular shape? It doesn't matter if it's like vertical or horizontal. Who said that this was the prototype of the reading source? I want paper in the shape of a lion. I want a paper and a book in the shape of, I don't know, a peacock. Something like that. This is so impressive. Were these tablets intended to be stored in archives, or were there markers planning to display them publicly? You know what? This one, because of the amount of text, this is not an inscription. This is a tablet, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know about this one particularly. I have no idea, but we need to find out. We need to find out because we want one of these. I mean, I want a notebook in the shape of this. Who's merchandising this? I would buy it, definitely. Oh, thank you, Nathan Ross. You're not going to regret it. There's also a beautiful piece belonging to this period where we can see a god, we can see a deity, a male deity, where is it? Okay, putting a foundation nail followed by a female figure that could be another deity or that could be his assistant. How do we know that the first one is a deity? I've explained this when we were talking about Mesopotamian deities, but mainly it's because of the headpiece, the crown made of horns. That type of headpiece only belongs to deities in Mesopotamian iconography. And possibly, and also due to the bigger size of the man, we know that one is the deity. We definitely need a cow tablet base, like definitely, no, of course. And we know that the figure in the bigger size is the deity, and the one behind could be a priestess, so sacerdotisa, there you could be. But seeing that she also has a headpiece with horns, possibly she was a minister of the deity. And what is a foundation nail? So this was basically the milestone. This was the foundation the whole building would construct upon, and this was placed as a matter of like a foundation moment. You're putting down the first stone of the whole construction. You are leaving that. Normally those will be inscripted with either the name of the patron, the name of the king. If it was a temple, it was more likely to be the name of the king. And these were huge, as you can see. Sometimes they're little pieces. They could be little like oh, hi, I thought it was Elam I in Spanish. No, this is a bilingual channel. I do live streams in English and I do live streams in Spanish. But mostly Spanish people come here to practice their listening. And that, I think that's beautiful because Plumas teaches you, but Plumas entertains you as well. So yeah, I like this one. And finally, we have this piece. This is a deity, and this is one of my favorites because I didn't know of her until very recent, until I started studying it. We have the goddess Narundi, and she was a deity worshipped mostly in the city of Susa. She played an apotropaic role, and also she is a distant cousin of a favorite and old fellow of mine, which is the Yazata Berethragna. Berethragna impersonates victory. He basically is the idea of victory, and Narundi also is. One of her roles was impersonating victory, so that's why I think these were cousins, distant relatives, one from the other, because as you can see, there's many deities around the globe that do represent this value or this idea of being undefeated. It's not just rising victorious, but the idea of being impossible to defeat. Do I make sense? I think I do. I would listen to you talking about Elam even in Esperanto. Oh my god, I love you. I could eat your face raw. What was that? It's convenient practicing English and rewatch the Elam info. Thank you. That is a big compliment, actually. I am very grateful for that. And then we moved to those were the kings and the people from the Awan dynasty. Then we moved to the Simashki dynasty, who had it a bit rough because the Mesopotamians, they did not let them rest very much. They attacked often the Iranian plateau, apparently, and I did not find anything as cool as the Lion Tablet, so we're going to move on because we've been here for a while already, and I am really sorry, but unfortunately nothing is going to be as cool as the Lion Tablet. And if you hear a Jin moving in the back, it's because there is indeed a Jin moving in the back. Then we go to the Sukalma dynasty, which is one of the most confusing periods in Elamite history, but to me, I find it utterly amusing, and let me expose my arguments for this. So we have a lot of sources. We do. But historical reconstruction has proven to be quite tricky because of many things. First of all, at some point, a misinterpretation of a written expression messed up the whole genealogy. Like the whole genealogy system was completely destroyed. A catastrophically delightful mistake just because someone misunderstood an expression that was written. Then, to make things worse, there was a text by a particular king who enumerated a series of his predecessors that reconstructed a temple, and he wanted to, to pay this little tribute, this homage to his ancestors, and listed them. What happened? That the text contained mistakes, major errors, because somebody, the person copying it, they did not learn by heart the list of kings and placed two of them wherever they deemed appropriate. And that, my bacha, that has turned the heads of many generations of scholars upside down, because this period simply did not make sense, because all the information was there, but it was completely disorganized and misplaced. Therefore, you had a series of kings to order, but each of them in two sources that we happen to preserve, because it's not that all of them were recorded in the wrong order. Absolutely not. But the sources we preserve were wrong. And there's nothing else than human error, a human mistake. And I find all of these utterly amusing, so entertaining, because, we tend to look at the past and think of the past people, the ancients, as so thorough, so serious, so perfect. There was not room for error. And then things like this happen, which is like, there was indeed room for error. Humans are stupid. I don't know if you have been aware of this by the time of this planet, but we, as a species, are not the sharpest tool in the shed. So just imagining generation after generation of scholars banging their heads against a wall trying to make sense of a completely destroyed genealogy. It makes me smile and laugh. I love it, and I wanted to share it with you. But moving on, here comes the Middle Elamite period from around 1500 to 1100 before Common Era. And I like this one. I like this one because this is when kings stop calling themselves Sukalma or Sukal, which was basically the title, and is a title for king. Oh, I had another picture I wanted to show you. Where is it? I have like a lot, but I cannot find. And there you go. It's because of the spelling. I have it written in two different languages. Here, I was saying that the kings stopped calling themselves Sukal or Sukalma, and they start using the King of Anshan and Susa title. And I love it. Do I like it because of Cyrus? Do I like the title King of Anshan because it's linked to Cyrus? You can answer that question yourselves. I think even Sweden managed to mislabel their kings. At least the Elamites can argue that they didn't have advanced technology. You know what? Fair. I do imagine the people copying, making the list of kings and trying to recite in my memory, and they're going, oh damn, I don't remember. Do you remember? Do you know where this guy goes? Is this before or after the other guy? And a person around me like, I don't know, dude, I just been here to pay your company. I can't even read. I don't know what you're talking about. Which king? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to place one here and the other one here, and we're good to go. Perhaps that was a tablet that was kept, it was so embarrassing for the person that it was kept in a drawer or in like a very bag of an old chest or something. It was just preserved there, like hidden from the world, and then millennia after, someone found it in an excavation and they were like, oh my god, I found something incredible, and then turns out it was not incredible after all. It was full of mistakes. Oh my god. Anyway, the culture of Mesopotamia in this period started to give way to a much more Iranic-oriented situation. The Akkadian stopped being used, for example, and the pantheon showed stronger presence of Iranic deities, and wonders like the Chogha Zambil ziggurat started being built. Did you know that the ancient name of Chogha Zambil was Dur-un-Tash? Doesn't it sound like an ancient city of Tolkien dwarves or something? Dur-un-Tash. I bloody love it, and I bloody love dwarves. Like, dwarves are the best. Don't know if you know the tune, I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy, diggy hole. Diggy, diggy hole. Like, they could leave. I mean, they could be definitely a city in a fantasy setting called Dur-un-Tash, and it should belong to dwarves. I've been saying this for a while, but please let fantasy writing authors discover the ancient Near East. They're going to be fascinated, and we need that. We need a wave of fresh, new material, because classical sources are outdone completely, and medieval fantasy is okay, but starts to be a little bit burnt out too. We need ancient Near Eastern fantasy, Middle Eastern fantasy. Why am I clapping? I have no idea, but are you joining? I am just trying to get the ball rolling. Are you rolling with it? I hope you are. I am a very big fan of fantasy, as some of the people on the chat already know. Part of my professional life is dedicated to that. Anyway, the person behind the ziggurat of Chogha Zambil was Untash Napirisha, a king of the... This is so difficult for me to pronounce. The name of the dynasty is Igi Halki, the Igi Halkid dynasty. And actually, we do preserve his signature, which is something very interesting because we don't normally have it. No, it's not this one. There we go. This is the signature of King Untash Napirisha, and this was written in cuneiform. Yeah, but cuneiform was started to be like Akkadian was not using anymore. It was much more like Elamite, and yeah, Elamite was also written with cuneiform script. I don't know if I need to say this, but it's always a good reminder. So the cuneiform is the way of the script, is the way these things look, the shape of the script. Then you have languages. You have Akkadian, Sumerian, Elamite, and so, Babylonian also. So you write in cuneiform, definitely, but that would be like saying that you write with the Latin alphabet, and then you have English, Spanish, Italian, French, and so. The modern European fantasy genre was more or less launched by one person, Tolkien. There's no reason why the same couldn't happen elsewhere. Authors of the world, are you listening to this person? Please do. I just so on board with that. Yeah, and we have the signature of the person here. This belonged to a doll. And I cannot show you the proper picture because I do not have the picture in a context next to a person, but do believe me when I tell you that this was huge. It was big. It was massive. And we have a reconstruction of the Chogazambil. There you go. This drawing reconstructing the original ziggurat in Chogazambil. This was closer to those in Mesopotamia. This was closer to Etemenanki, which was the ziggurat in Babylon, also known as the Tower of Babel, if maybe you know that one. And it's a little bit different to others found in Iranian territories, or at least others that we have noticed of, because there were ziggurats, but we have not preserved it. Also, I wasn't in Choga. I couldn't visit Chogazambil when I was there. I had to choose between going to Esfahan or Chogazambil, and I chose Esfahan. Do I regret it? Not the slightest, because I loved Esfahan and being in there was so beautiful. But I do admit that I would have really enjoyed a trip to Chogazambil, although I know there's no... I could say, oh, I wanted to go to a trip, on a trip to see the remainings of Sush. There is no remainings of shoes. It's like bury the foundings are there, and the archaeological situation is catastrophical, if I can say that. So Esfahan is Nesfahan, so I understand you. Thank you. You see, the fellow Iranians know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Nefer. It was possible to hear Esfahan without the music. Yeah. Okay, so finally, we have what we know as the Neo-Elamite period. And for that, what should I show you? Well, I can show you this one. This is from the Middle Elamite period, but I don't have images from the Neo-Elamite period. This was from the way back. But again, cows. Well, actually, these look like rams. Yeah, these are more Team Ibex, Team Goat, which we also like. But there you have it. Also, I can show you the world. I can show you what else. I can show you the map, because I think it's going to be much more enlightening for this part that we see the map, and not any map, this map. Okay, so as I said, we choose and fish goats. Why not? Definitely. We have entered the Neo-Elamite period that goes from 1100 to the 539 before Common Era. Maybe some of you are already recognizing this last date. A massive migration of Iranic people happened this time. The Medes from Ecbatana fundamentally, and then those tribes arriving from everywhere. We have the Parthians, the Sargatians, the Aryans, the Magians, the Bactrians, the Sogdians. But this is love. I need to tell you this because I love this so much. To the Assyrians, in fact, they were all the distant Medes. In the sources, we found that they referred to the Medes as in general, but we knew for a fact, and by we I mean the scholars, they knew for a fact that there were not that many Medes. So who were these mysterious distant Medes? We only could classify these people because of Achaemenid sources that knew the tribes were separate entities, and they knew them very well. But to the Assyrians, all these people, the Parthians, the Sargatians, the Medes, the Parsa, all these people to the Assyrian, we would have known them as the close Medes that were the proper mother, and then the distant Medes. I love it. Humans, we haven't changed a bit, have we? Yeah, it's that is why also I was emphasizing so much the perspective of the person telling the story, because to someone in Assyria, they all look and appear to be the same, exactly the same, all mother. the mother that came from, you know, a closer land and then a further land. There was no need for making a differentiation. However, if we change the perspective and we look at ourselves in a much more Achaemenid situation, the Achaemenids knew perfectly who they were talking about, and they knew the mother were only one tribe, and Media was only one part of the rest of the Iranian plateau. But the Assyrians that didn't know. The progression of the Mada and the Parsa, they moved the Elamites towards the region of Anshan, like we have on the map. And yes, we have here in Anshan is where we have and find Cyrus. But not only him, Ashurbanipal himself, the king, the last great king of Assyria, he also conquered parts of the Elamite dominion and incorporated them to his very vast empire, because up to the date of Ashurbanipal being alive, he held the most powerful empire in the ancient known world. But that record was gonna be broken very soon. Do you know by who? Just look at my face. You know who. You know who I'm talking about. I'm gonna let you guess. Okay, let's just do that. Ashurbanipal had the most powerful and biggest empire in the ancient known world. But he was going to be deposed of this throne and removed from this record very soon. And Nefer is not Cyrus. You know who. Come on. I'm sending it to you. You know who. But also something fun, like a tiny digression. When Ashurbanipal conquered Elam, there's like a whole drama about it. Maybe we can leave it for another live stream. But what you have to know is that the destruction of Elam was not as thrilling and terrible as Ashurbanipal made it look on his palace in Nineveh, on his reliefs. You know the guy, he did enjoy a good, powerful performance, but apparently it was not that big. The only king I know, no, you know another one. And we're gonna reveal who this person was. Who was the person that held the biggest empire in the known world? So, I said that this Neo-Elamite period finished in 539 before Common Era. What happened there? What happened? What occurred at that time? Darius the First. That happened. And that's all we're going to talk about today. So thank you so much for joining the stream. And yes, the person that had the biggest empire in the known world before came Ashurbanipal, and then the empire was made bigger by Darius the First. I was going to say the third. No, because I'm thinking I've been listening to So You Think You Can Rule Persia, the podcast, and they covered the last of the Achaemenids a while ago. I'm just thinking of it because I really like the story of that the third. So yeah, I mean, what happened to Elam? Like to many other parts of the known world, that happened. That rings a bell. There was not a king there that portrayed himself hunting lions to look like a god before his subject. That one, Ansho, that one is Ashurbanipal. Yeah. I mean, the tradition of depicting themselves as hunting, that a lot of people did. I have a whole video about the royal hunt in Assyria, should you be interested. Thank you so much, Nefer. Thanks to you. Oh, and lovely streamers. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks to you too for being here, just being here, paying me company and learning about Elam, because I truly believe it's super interesting and not so well known to the general public. And if I'm honest, I think that's a pity. I saw the real hunt earlier. I recommend it. Thank you, Azizam. Khayli mamnoon. And yeah, Elam is such an unknown topic. And I'm very happy that I started this series, because if you saw, it was Elam 1, because I plan on doing more episodes on this. Maybe we can delve into the culture, we can talk about biblical archaeology, we can talk about art, about language, although I'm not an expert in any of those topics, but we will discover them together, which is something very lovely to do. So, Bacha, thank you so much. My tea is almost very cold. lovely as always. Thank you so much for accompanying me. I thank you for enjoying the live stream. You know, you can join the community if you wish. You can join the Discord server, you can join the Telegram channel if you're not so up for much of a conversation. You hope to see more LMIs. I hope to bring you more LMIs. In order to do so, to continue, if you are a patron, you help me so much. And patrons, you can expect your schedule for February very, very soon. To the rest of you, which I thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, should you do and enjoy any endeavors of yours. And you know, as I always tell you, remember to create, to explore, and to have a lot of fun. And until we see you, we see each other next time, remember, next week is the stream in Spanish, and then the following week would be in English. You know, we are like doing one and then other and one and then other, because I have to please all my audiences, and you, which are very easy to please. You're not difficult at all. You're definitely not difficult. And you're very loyal, so thank you so much for that. And yeah, until we see each other next time, I tell you, Khuda Hafiz.